Well, hi there. Happy day after Labor Day weekend. Hope it was a restful, refreshing one for you. Maybe you had to work part or all of the weekend. Whatever your situation was, welcome back to the first live Take Two with Jerry and Debbie following the holiday weekend. I'm Jerry Usher, along with Debbie Georgiani. And Debbie, today, well, first of all, how was your weekend with Marty and anyone else you may have spent time with?
It was good. Not very restful. It was good though. We got a lot of things done. We attended some meetings, and it was just really it was productive. It was good. But I'm a little bit tired. I have to be honest with you. But I'm gaining momentum because this show definitely energizes me, and I just love being with our listeners. So it was good. How about you? Did you get to watch football, Jerry?
I did watch some football and saw some exciting games, and my hats off to Rich Jesse, our producer. His Auburn Tigers beat my Washington Huskies, but it was a close game, so the season is underway and off and running, and so it's good to be back.
Yeah.
And we have a topic today, Debbie. A lot of people are going to weigh in on this, so I know the phone lines are going to fill up very, very quickly.
Choosing godparents wisely. That's what came to us by one of our listeners. Suggested this topic on what's the best way to properly discern who's going to be the best sponsor for your child, or if you're an adult, you pick that sponsor. And it's really a spiritual decision. And so, I mean, there's certain criteria that need to be met, and your parish will give you that. But from a spiritual standpoint, what is the best way to choose godparents? Because we all come from families, Jerry. We all have friends. And so many times we think to ourselves, well, maybe we should choose Uncle so-and-so or Aunt so-and-so, because they're in our family. But is that really the best choice for your child's spiritual development? And that's what we're talking about today. Here's the number. Please weigh in on this. Maybe you can share your experience, what discernment process you went through to pick godparents for your child for baptism, or maybe as an adult you came into the church, and what discernment did you go through? What prayerful thought process did you go through to pick your sponsor? 833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986. We need to hear from you because you drive the show. What do you think, Joe?
And also weigh in on what you understand your duties to be as a godparent. I don't know. I was looking around, Debbie. I don't know that the church has any specific, concrete, hard and fast list. These things must be done by a godparent. But some of the things are pretty obvious. And I found a little snippet from the Catechism of the Catholic Church. And it's from paragraphs 1253 and 1255. Baptism is the sacrament of faith, but faith needs the community of believers. It is only within the faith of the church that each of the faithful can believe. The faith required for baptism is not a perfect and mature faith, but a beginning that is called to develop. The catechumen or the godparent is asked, "What do you ask of God's church?" The response is faith. For the grace of baptism to unfold, the parent's help is important. So, too, is the role of the godfather and godmother, who must be firm believers, able and ready to help the newly baptized child or adult on the road to the Christian life. Their task is a truly ecclesial function. So it's pretty general, but it really encompasses a lot of things, what a godparent really should be doing for his or her godchildren.
Mm-hmm. And you got that from the Catechism of the Catholic Church, paragraphs, 1253, 4?
1253 and 55.
And 55, okay. And then there's also the Code of Canon Law also talks about the criteria for choosing godparents. And yeah, I mean, I think this is a really good discussion. So we want to hear from you. Please share with us what you went through. Did you talk to your religious education director about this, of choosing godparents? Did you talk to the pastor? What did your church say about it? Because everybody has a little bit. There's little nuances that are a little different. Jerry, when I was a religious education director, we were very precise on what the requirements were. We of course adhered to canon law, and also what you just shared in the catechism and the rite of Catholic baptism. And we had sponsors sign forms eligibility forms and sponsors or godparents. And so you would actually sign and you would check off the box that you're a practicing Catholic, you're over the age of 16, you're not a parent of the candidate, stuff like that. And then you'd sign. And that was really helpful for us in religious education. Was that your experience? Maybe you want to share that with us. 833-288-3986.
Yeah, and let us know what kind of a relationship you have with your godparent or your godchildren. Any one of us who is a baptized Catholic, really in most, unless extremely rare instances, should have godparents. So are your godparents active? Have they been active and involved in your life? What kinds of things did they do to assist your parents in seeing your faith formation develop in your life? And what about you? If you've been asked to be a godparent, how seriously did you take that? And not just, go to the baptism and stand in there and help out and say, yeah, I'll be a godparent, and then after that, nothing else after that. Now, I'll be readily admit that I have not been as active as I should have been in the godchildren that I have, but I certainly have prayed for them. I'm in touch with them, in contact regularly, and so forth. But there are other things that I wish that I had been doing over the years, and then some of those things are just spending personal time with them, maybe sending them cards on their birthdays and their baptismal day and things like that. So how has that relationship been for you between your godparent or your godchildren? 833-288-3986. Share that with us.
As you were talking about that, Jerry, I was thinking about my godparents because, when I was baptized, my uncle, the priest who passed away, it was interesting because it was so much about family because he was the one, doing the baptism. And we have one picture of it, Jerry. I don't even think we have a video of it. But my adult cousins, first cousins, were my godparents. And for many years, my godfather stayed in touch. For 12 years, he took that role so to heart. And he was right there with me up until about 12. And then he, went off and had his own family. And I moved to Arizona. And you're right. And we lost touch. And that's that's sad because you remember those things and it is important. So this is your show, folks. Please weigh in on this. We're talking about choosing godparents wisely today. 833-288-3986. Call in and share your experience of this.
Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio. It's Tuesday, right after Labor Day. Back to the grind for many of us, and it is just good to be back with you here on the program as always. 833-288-3986, talking about the role, the selection of godparents. And the question for you today is we're not giving you a quiz on what is required of a godparent or what the canon law says are the proper qualifications of a godparent, but really just as always on this show, your own personal experience. Have you been a godparent to young babies when they were baptized, or perhaps an adult? And how has that relationship been? What have you tried to do spiritually and practically and so forth to support the faith life of those individuals? And what about your own godparents? And if you've been parents of kids, what was the thought process and the prayer process that went into your selecting the godparents for your kids? 833-288-EWTN.
Jerry, I just wanted to share this. It would really benefit, I think, our listeners if you would maybe internet search the rite of baptism, the Catholic rite of baptism, and look at the actual rite, the actual baptismal process. And if you go down, there's a part in the baptism of the lighted candle, okay, and the celebrant takes the Easter candle and says, "Receive the light of Christ." Someone from the family, such as the father or godfather, lights the child's candle from the Easter candle. The celebrant then says, "Parents and godparents, this light is entrusted to you to be kept burning brightly." Now, Jerry, see, the rite is so beautiful, and it's very important. It's not just something that it's symbolic, like, oh, isn't it great we have, Aunt Sally, who's the godparent. It's that they have a special responsibility, privilege, and role to keep that light burning for that child. And it says, "This child of yours has been enlightened by Christ. He is to walk always as a child of the light." And see, that's the role, the very important role of godparents. I just wanted to stress that, Jerry, because it's a beautiful thing to be chosen as a godparent. And it comes with it not just the name, but a great spiritual privilege of being in that child's faith formation for the rest of their life. At least we hope that, right, Jerry?
Absolutely. Okay, to your calls, which drive the program, 833-288-3986. Jenna is first, listening online at EWTN.com in Atlanta. Hi, Jenna. Welcome, and you get to start things off today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hi, thank you.
Sure.
I just had a question. My husband and I are in RCIA. We're converting from Protestantism, and we were both baptized as adults. My husband's a PhD student, and he only has one more year, so we're only going to be in Atlanta for one more year, but we really want our two children to be baptized. How do we go about picking godparents when we don't know where we'll be, or, just how do we go about choosing someone? And, we're not from Atlanta. None of our family's Catholic, so we don't really know how to go about it.
Yeah, that's right. Since none of your family is Catholic, it is a requirement that godparents be Catholic. I would, first thing I would do, and Debbie, you worked in parishes. I don't know if you've experienced this situation, but first thing that comes to mind, Jenna, and maybe you and your husband have done this already, is talk to the pastor, and it's very, very possible, I would say very likely, that the pastor would know people who would be able to, eager and willing to serve as the godparents of your children. Now, they may want to get to know you a little bit and vice versa. Obviously, you want to know who these people are. You don't want to just have anybody, even including a pastor, just say, hey, yeah, Dick and Sally over here will be the godparents, and you're like, okay, well, we'd like to get to know them. So if you've been attending a parish for a while, maybe, I don't know, have you been attending any certain parish and gotten to know a few people at least?
We've gotten to know, our sponsors and people through our RCIA classes, but we just don't know, how does it work if we move in a year? How does that work with the godparents? Are they still interactive with our children, or do they just, be praying for them? How does that work?
Well, I agree with Jerry, Jenna. Please talk to your pastor or the religious education director who's running the formation classes for baptism, and find out what they would suggest. That's first and foremost, because everybody has a little different style in each diocese. Okay, but when I was a religious education director, now I'm recalling this from 15 years ago, so bear with me on this. this. We had folks that moved around or got transferred or something of that nature, and we would encourage them to reach out to people they knew, friends they know that are long distance. If they can come in for the baptism, if they can't, you can have a person step in as a proxy that can step in place of the godparent or sponsor. And the way we did it, we used to, when the baptismal documents were signed, we had the godparent's name there, and then underneath it would say, Jane Smith, proxy for the godparent. That's who stood in for it, because you have to have all the records. And we would encourage them to first reach out to people they know. The last resort is to get people in the parish that you're at that you really don't know. Because, let's face it, you probably will not have a relationship with them. It's not going to be long term. And so it's not the most desirable situation, although it happens. So I don't know if you want to talk to your the church that you're in right now and find out if that's possible. But that's how we did it here. We had people that couldn't fly in to Arizona for different baptisms, and so people stood as in place of as proxy for that godparent, and then that person got signed on the baptismal certificate. Does that help, Jenna? Because they really want you to reach out to people you know and you have a relationship with, so that your child would have a relationship with them in a Catholic in good standing. So does that help, Jenna?
I think it does. I think we just need to be praying about it and hope God, it shows the light of what we should do, because we really don't want to wait to have our kids baptized much longer to wherever we will move. But we'll definitely talk to our priest pretty soon. Thank you so much.
Well, Jenna, we're praying for you and your family on this journey. It's a beautiful one. It is going to be so fully rich and rewarding for all of you. And you have to know, Jenna, that if God has led you and your husband and your family on this path and into the Roman Catholic Church, that he's got it all. He's got all the bases covered, including godparents for your beautiful kids. So be at peace and rest assured of that, okay?
Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Jenna.
Thanks, Jenna.
Wow, what a great story all the way around, Debbie, coming into the church and getting their kids baptized as well, and doing it right, looking for, really good, solid, holy godparents for their kids.
Yeah, she's asking all the right questions. I think it's wonderful. That's the other thing. Ask a lot of questions of what's expected of godparents and what's the role for the parents. You are the primary catechist. It's very important you ask the questions. Just don't go along just because you feel like you have to just follow along. You really should ask the important questions like Jen is doing. So that's really good. Okay, Tara in Toronto, Canada, on the EWTN app. You've been waiting so patiently. Thank you, and welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. I have a question regarding if I'm even able to be a godparent. I am, long story short, I'm in the process of waiting for my RCIA classes to start, and I've had my sister ask me to be godparent to her child, but I will not be baptized by the time their date for their child to be baptized is going to be coming about. And I was wondering if I'm even able to accept this role because of my because I'm not baptized yet.
Jerry, do you want to go first?
Well, I was going to ask a question, Tara. Are you going to be in RCIA to be brought into the church or confirmed at the next Easter Vigil next spring, or is it a 2-year process, or how long is your RCIA program?
It should be this at Easter Vigil, not 2-year, but
next year,
the next Easter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and then so I don't know that the parents would want to wait. Obviously, if I were a parent, I'd want to have my child baptized as soon as possible. So I was just kind of
that's the utmost importance.
Right,
exactly. Regardless of I'm disappointed or not, that they continue on and do what's right.
Yeah, obviously the canon law of the church, Tara, does require that a person be. Well, let me just read that paragraph of the canon so I don't
Right.
botch it up here. It's Canon 874, paragraph 1, point number 3, must be a Catholic who has been confirmed and has already received the most holy sacrament of the Eucharist and who leads a life of faith in keeping with the function to be taken on. So, Debbie, unless you know differently, it seems that Tara's opportunity for this may come, but it may not be in this particular situation.
Right. Tara, we used to have this all the time when I was in this field of sacrament prep, and it was not allowed. You have to be, like Jerry said, you must be a Catholic who's received the sacraments of initiation, so baptism, confirmation, and First Communion. And so unfortunately, with the timing of this, it doesn't sound like it's going to work out for you to be the godparent. Now, I don't want to get into all these nuances, but I would also talk to the pastor. I would have I think you said it's your sister's children, have your sister talk to the pastor, and just to confirm that. The other thing too, Tara, is if you were baptized in another Christian denomination, you could stand up as a Christian witness. So your sister could have a godparent, and then you could be a Christian witness. And that still keeps you, connected. And then you'll be coming into the church. So it'll just be a nice, smooth thing for the child. So, think about that as well, because you just need one godparent who's a practicing Catholic who's received the sacraments. And then those that, stand up, beside that godparent are Christian witnesses if they're not, fully practicing in the church. So I hope I got that right, Jerry.
Yeah,
go ahead.
No, I understand. Unfortunately, I don't have any other baptism, and it's just like I said, a long story. My family is Catholic, but I was not baptized when my parents immigrated to Canada due to them. They had trouble locating the records due to war. And for whatever reason, so they got married outside the church, and then I just kind of, my brothers and sisters after me got baptized, and I just had a long road trying to get baptism. So I'm
right.
finally finally found a church in my area that's holding RCIA. So hopefully I will finally get that important baptism for myself.
Right,
but it's
right.
important. I wanted to know for my sister so they can. Look into someone else. I don't think they're aware of that.
Right. And have them talk to the pastor. I mean, it's really important to make sure you're in line with what that parish dictates for baptism. But one other thing I just wanted to share, Terry, it takes a lot of people to be faithful around the child and to help others. And you're a family member, so you're going to be holding that light of Christ for that child anyway. The name godparent, it's very important. Don't get me wrong, but I would also say that I would not delay. In fact, I would say this for everybody. Please do not delay the sacraments just to make sure you have people in the right places at the right time, because delaying that, you never know, things can happen. So I would never delay baptism for any reason. If you're ready to go and everything's in line, I would definitely go through with the sacrament, because that's what's most important. And you're a family member, so you're going to be and you're going to be on an on fire Catholic, okay? When you are fully initiated into the church, Tara. So you're going to be the perfect aunt for that child. And that child is going to look up to you and see your zeal for the faith, and that's going to be huge. So that's more important than anything. But I wouldn't. That's just me. I wouldn't delay the sacraments. What do you think about that, Jerry?
Well, I agree. I think, Tara, you probably know this already. We're not telling you anything that you aren't already aware of. But being, like Debbie said, the proximity that you'll be just as a family member, whether it's actual geographic proximity or not, like I said before, I have not been as involved in the lives of my godchildren as I would have liked to have been or should have been. But you as a family member, that's almost not likely not to happen at all. I mean, in other words, you're going to be playing an active role. So with or without the title of godparent, you are going to be effectively acting as a godparent and more for this child, Tara. Do you think? What do you think about that?
Oh no, for sure. I look forward, whether I get that title or not, to try and inspire, to take them along, bring them with me to just to kind of lead by example, and whether or not I have a godparent or not, it doesn't matter. I just wanted to straighten that out for my sister so she could well, for me, because of my delay, I think it's every child. If I can not cause a delay, or do not delay, get it done, and I can do the same job whether I have that title or not.
Amen.
So I really thank you for saying that, because it's nice to hear. It's a bit of a disappointment, but you know what? I'll get over it and do what's right anyway.
Right. And you know what, Tara, let me just share something real quickly on a personal note. I really wanted to be the godparent for my sister's baby. And she chose my other sister at the time. But I was more influential with my niece than my sister was, my other sister. And so I kind of consider myself a godparent of my niece, because I helped her in religious education. So that's what I'm just saying. The influence can be there, Tara. God bless you. God bless you on your journey into the church. We'll be right back on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Keep your radio dial right here on EWTN Radio and your local affiliate, or Sirius XM, or online, or on the smartphone app, wherever you happen to be listening. And preceding us by a few hours each morning is Catholic Connection with Teresa Tomeo, weekday mornings at 8 Eastern Time. Teresa has her pulse on what's going on in the media and many other aspects of faith and culture in the church, so don't miss Catholic Connection with Teresa Tomeo, weekday mornings, tomorrow morning again at 8 Eastern Time. And Debbie, go ahead.
I was just going to say a fellow Paisan.
That's right.
Italian friend.
Yeah, well, I was going to say we have an open phone line that we need to have somebody fill. Yeah.
Okay. If you're prompted by the Spirit, you need to call in. And here, you got plenty of time. 833-288-3986. Maybe tell us your story about being a godparent, choosing a godparent. Maybe you're in the midst of discerning who would be the best godparents. Just real quickly on a side note, David, hold on one second. Before we get to David, I'm getting a lot of emails, Jerry, from last week's show about, I had shared that I was a safe environment trainer, and I shared about healthy boundaries and and things of that nature. And I'm getting a lot of emails of folks asking me if there's a book on healthy boundaries. There is, but I can't locate it. So I talked to a diocesan official here in the Diocese of Phoenix on Saturday and asked if they would be able to locate it for me. Because remember, as a trainer for Safe Environment, I had training manuals. We didn't have books. We used training manuals. So it's not, I know there are books out there, so please be patient, folks. And as a matter of fact, just to make it easy on everybody, we can post it on take2show.com once I locate the books for children, for teens, and for adults. There's books on healthy boundaries for adults, which we all need. So there you go. David in Houston, Texas, thank you for waiting on Guadalupe Radio Network. Hi, David. Welcome.
Hi. Yes, Houston. We are getting rained on over here a whole lot.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes. No. Just on the topic for the godparents, my experience was, baptism, confirmation, first communion, all of those three sacraments. Is my godparents. I never really heard from them. Never saw them. Never did anything with them. No clue about the faith at all. So it was one of those things. The way now that I've worked the sacraments with my daughters, my three daughters, is I've tried to pick my closest family members, my brothers and sisters, but of course we had a talk about the faith and stuff, and they've all been their sacraments and everything. But I expressed to them the importance of their presence in my kids' lives, and I've also promised that if they keep their side of the covenant, that they would be, doing the rest of these sacraments with each and every one of them. There would be confirmation and first communion if they continued with that relationship. Being present there as adults and just being witnesses to the sacraments is really important. I've been called to be godparent multiple times. I think is a little bit more than what I can handle. And I say that because it's so many children that I've done through the sacrament that I've lost touch with some of them. And it wasn't because, I'm just baptizing kids because I want to be baptizing kids, but some of these families that come to me, they have no other connections and stuff. And it's really hard to keep track with everybody. But again, I have told them that we need to keep in touch, and it's just sad when you lose touch with these kids, because of family issues and stuff. But we need to be try to keep that communication and be witness to Christ.
Yeah, for sure, David. First thing I want to say is you are articulate and you really understand this. You take it very, very seriously, which is so edifying. I know I can speak for Debbie when I say that. And David, I will say the fact that you have been called upon, or you've been asked to be a godfather on so many occasions, is a testament to you, to the faith life that you must live, it sounds like, and the kind of quality man that you are. So congratulations on that. And also the fact that you looked at it, David, and you said, you know what, I don't want to take on too many because then it could dilute that and water it down, and you want to really provide quality spiritual support for those that you do take on as godchildren. So hats off to you for all of that. And again, just the way that you described, looking for the right person, the one who's going to be there, have that communication, that interaction, and not just kind of drift off. Because, like I said, I apologize to my godchildren. I was not out of their lives. I certainly prayed for them. I was in touch with them, but there was always a distance as well, many, many miles. But I think it's so important, Debbie. As you know, Debbie, it's not just, you don't just say, okay, I'll be a godparent. You stand there, you hold a candle, you blow out the candle, and that's the end of the job. That's really just the beginning of being a godparent.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you are assisting the parents as primary catechists. You are there for the children for the long haul, and if you are very active in their life, in their faith life, and I love how you chose family members, David, which they'll be around for your children. As they grow up, they'll look up to them, and it's an important thing. It kind of holds everybody accountable. And making them walk the walk and talk the talk on both sides, for godparents and for those that are the recipients of the godparents, those that are baptized or confirmed. And David, it's I think it's an important role, and I like everything that you said. I agree with what Jerry was saying on how he was affirming you, and I think it's a healthy outlook and attitude you have, and it's important. But our role is important because if we really believe in our faith journey, right, David? If we believe in our faith journey, when we get to the end, when we meet Jesus, what's he going to say? What did you do in the lives of others? How did you bring others closer, right, David?
Yes, and there is a misunderstanding with the I think it goes around the Latino culture, the Hispanic culture, that we think that when you get a godparent, the godparent is the party provider. It's the one that pays for the party, the one that always that's always renting the hall for the birthday parties, the one that is always doing the Christmas. The gifts. It's basically it becomes a gift type of relationship where the parent expects that you're going to be showering the child with gifts and physical items in their special days, and it's that's one of the talks you got to have from the beginning, especially in the Hispanic culture. That I'm going to be a godparent, but we're going to push all this other stuff to the side. I'm not here to be your party host or to be your the gifts, the buyer of gifts, and all. And that's not who I am. I'm here to be a spiritual source. If you need any questions, if you have any questions, just anything related with the spiritual life of your child, and anything you want to communicate to me, rosary, just anything dealing with the spiritual side, then that's what I'm a godparent of, not of the party provider. Because it's a big misconception. I actually had a fallout with one of the parents, one of the kids that I confirmed. We had to talk and stuff, and then afterwards, they were calling me to say for me to rent the hall for a birthday party, and I was like, okay, this is not what this whole thing's about. This is not what this. Are you taking him to church? Is he participating in these other things? Is he? Can you bring him and accompany me to the rosary? When we do the rosaries every Monday, can you do these things? And of course, that side of the covenant, it just wasn't kept. That was not the interest. The interest was, it was that the Hispanic culture of you're going to be the provider, the money, the financer for all of the things that we want to get done. It's like, no, that's not what a godparent is.
Right. Right. Great stuff, David. Yeah. Thanks, David, for being such an articulate contributor to the program today. We appreciate that. And boy, oh boy, I'll tell you what, so many of us, the thing is, we need good spiritual support and foundation and education and formation for our young people today. I don't want to say more than ever, but certainly as much as we ever have. And David, you have really set the bar high for all of us to be thinking about and taking into account. So thank you, David in Houston. Hope the rain doesn't last too long and that you had a good Labor Day weekend. And thanks for listening and joining us here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. All right, who is next, Deb?
I just wanted to say real quickly that is Michael call screening today? Michael? Or, well, I think it might be Michael.
It would be Michael or Michael.
Or, yeah, that's right. Michael McCall or Michael Birchfield. Okay. I just posted a boundaries book. So we'll go ahead. It was recommended by Dr. Greg Popchak. So that's awesome. So we'll post that on take2show.com. I have not read this particular book that Michael just posted, but let's post it because Dr. Popchak is great at about recommending things. So, okay. Next up is it Elizabeth? Where are we at?
Elizabeth,
Jerry?
yeah.
Elizabeth in North Carolina on EWTN Online. Thanks, Elizabeth, for waiting, and welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Well, thank you very much. I'm calling to give a ray of hope to the lady that called just a few minutes ago. I think her name was Terry, who seemed very disappointed and maybe even heartbroken about not being able to be a godparent to her sister's baby because she was in the RCIA and won't be baptized herself until Easter Vigil. My son just had a baby, and meaning his wife, obviously, but they had a baby a couple of months ago, and we talked to the pastor about the baptism, and we were told that only one godparent had to be Catholic. So obviously, in her case, well, if they find a godparent that's Catholic, Terry can be the other godparent, and then she can take on the role of a full-fledged Catholic when she gets baptized herself and confirmed at the Easter Vigil.
Yeah, we had shared that, Elizabeth, with her. And I don't want to
hear that part.
We did, yeah, we did, but I don't want to disagree with what that pastor said, because it's whatever reason the pastor shared that with you, but it is one. The way it worked in my diocese, anyway, is that it's one practicing Catholic in good standing to be the godparent. The other one can be a Christian witness, but she was not even baptized in another Christian denomination. So that takes her out of that for the as a godparent or Christian witness. What do you know about it, Jerry? Because that's my understanding of it.
Yeah, I just did a quick search on that, and Debbie and I often say we're not counselors or therapists or theologians or apologists. We're not canon lawyers either. But what I quickly came up with is I think that there can be a non-Catholic who is what is called a sponsor. Debbie used the word witness, and I think so. If they're the godmother and or godfather has to be a Catholic. That's my understanding of it. Again, we could be corrected on that. But there could be another person who is not particularly a baptized Catholic, but they are not, strictly speaking, the godfather or the godmother. They can be a witness or a sponsor. But in order to be either godfather or godmother, my understanding is that the person has to be a baptized and faithful practicing Catholic, has to have been confirmed and received the Eucharist and so forth.
Yeah. And Elizabeth, Tara shared that she was not baptized in a Christian religion. So it does, yeah. And we share with her that disappointment, because it's hard when you're a relative. But like we shared with her and affirmed her that her being a blood relative of that beautiful baby is a wonderful thing, and she'll be very active in the spiritual life, and especially coming into the faith. I mean, she's going to be on fire, and that child is going to see that. So hopefully that'll give her some excitement about it. Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for caring about, that's what I love about this show. We care about one another, and we can hear each other's joys and disappointments on the show, but we support one another as a Take Two family, and you're just a wonderful member of the family, and we value you so very much. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much for the call. Next on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, talking about godparenting, is Laura from Steubenville, Ohio, listening on EWTN.com. Help me with the name pronunciation. Is it Lara or Laura?
It's Laura. Thank you for asking.
Laura.
Most people don't even bother to. But good. Yeah, thank you very much.
Welcome.
It's Laura.
Yeah, good. Welcome, Laura.
Hi. Well, I was just calling because when my oldest daughter was born, my husband and I were in a situation very similar to the first caller, who they were going through RCIA, and her husband was a PhD candidate, and they knew they were going to move soon, so they're wondering how to find godparents. And we were not in RCIA at the time, but my husband was also a PhD candidate in Atlanta, and I just wanted to share how it worked out for us, because it worked out great, and I hope that I can encourage them from that. When we were in Atlanta and he was in school, our campus ministry, our Catholic center at the school where he was, I don't know where her husband was, but they really became our community, and we were as involved as we could be, that as his studies permitted, with that community. I would just really want to encourage them, even if you are in RCIA, there's nothing to, prevent you from being involved in your parish or your campus ministry, wherever you are. And that's where you're going to meet people who have the kind of faith that you want to show to your child. That's where we made our friends, who we became very close to. Many of them were students themselves, and so they didn't have family near to them, so we really only had each other, so that brought us even closer. But we were involved in our pro-life ministry. We would go to adoration, any social events that we could, and we really just became as involved as we could, and that's where we met the people who we ended up asking to be godparents. And when we did ask them, we found something to give them to read. I don't remember if it was from the Catechism or it might have been something that we found on the EWTN website describing the duties of godparents. And we asked them to read that. And we said, hey, this is what we're asking of you guys. Do you think you could take this on? And they both read it, and they took their role very seriously. They've become part of our family. We're not related to them, but our kids call them aunt and uncle. We did have to move shortly after, and they've both also moved. We keep in touch whenever our daughter has a birthday or she just made her first communion, when her sacrament was coming up. We talk about where she is and what might help her in her spiritual life right now, what they need to pray for. And when they do give her gifts, it's always with a mind of what might be something that could help her. And, it might be that, her favorite saint right now is Mother Teresa. If maybe a Mother Teresa coloring book or something like that would be something she would love, or she really wants to read a real Bible by herself. And they will step in and provide those for her, pray for her, offer masses for her, and they're very good about calling and keeping in touch and visiting when they can, even when we're far away, in part because we did have a good relationship before, but then also because, they knew what we were asking of them, and they really decided to take that seriously when we asked them to be godparents for her. And I mean, I've been floored. Like we couldn't have possibly asked or prayed for better people for her. They have really been such a blessing in her life. So
wow.
I just encourage them, even if you're in RCIA, like you're only limited by your own time to get involved with your church and to make those friends and make those connections that could carry on even after you move.
Yeah, it's beautiful testimony, Laura. Thank you so much. And I love the way that you and your husband really gave this other couple the option, but you gave them, a very clear picture of what you wanted for your daughter, and it's nothing less than what you and your husband had always in your heart and in your minds that you were going to provide for her. And so, and I think that's great, and it gives the potential godparents the option of looking at their lives and their schedules and their level of faith at that point, and how serious they are about that, and it gives them, I'm sure, a comfortable freedom to be able to say, I don't know that we're ready to do this right now, or yes, we really want to do this, and we are all in. So, Debbie, I think Laura and her husband approached it fantastically, and what a great gift. I mean, this is the ideal situation that for godparents and godchildren.
Oh, yeah. Laura, you're a dream for religious education because you took it seriously. You set those expectations. You put it out there, what you wanted for your child, and that just goes to show that you take the role as primary catechist seriously. And so thank you for that. I think it's awesome. Keep up the great work on that with your beautiful child. And I don't know if you have more children, but it's a wonderful thing. It's a beautiful thing to watch a faith unfold in your children and the godparents as well, because we're on a journey and it's a beautiful thing. So thank you so very much for sharing that with us today. It really inspired us.
Okay.
Jerry, can I just, this may be a shocker to some of our listeners. Do you know that there's different places, different pockets around the United States that still do not have Catholic radio?
I do know that, yeah.
Yeah, I knew you knew that. But you can get it online and stuff like that in the apps and everything. But, to have a local radio station where you can get into the car and just turn it on and hear the gospel message 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it's a pretty awesome thing. If God is calling you, and listen to this, guys, if God is calling you to start a Catholic radio station, pray about it. If you don't have it in your area, call Jack Williams. He's great, and he'll help you through it, walk you through the steps if you think you might be called to start a Catholic radio station. All you got to do is dial his number 205-795-5756 or visit ear.ewtn.com.
Okay, back to your calls, talking about choosing godparents for your kids, living that out. Have you been a godparent? Have you chosen rightly for your own children? I'm going to go to Kim in Texas, listening on Ave Maria Radio to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Hi, Kim. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you. I just wanted to share something real quick, a simple, practical way to keep your godchildren in your prayers. We have 4 children of our own, and we have 4 godchildren. And so I used to think I needed to shower them with gifts and be this ultimate godmother that the world thinks, we got to do all these crazy things in all different directions. But it came to my heart about a year ago, and it's really worked, is I just, the first 3 beads, the Hail Marys at the Rosary, I dedicate to the godchildren, and I just consecrate them to the Blessed Virgin Mary, the Immaculate Heart, and the Sacred Heart of Jesus. And I'm telling you, every time I pray my Rosary every morning, those godchildren are right there in those 3 beads. I'm reminded of them every morning. So, and I know now I'm praying for them. I might not be doing a whole lot of other things, but they're in my prayers every day. So
beautiful. Beautiful. That is, Kim, it reminds me.
To share that.
Yeah, it reminds me so much of when I was talking at the beginning of the show by uncle who passed away, who was just a phenomenal priest, very holy priest, and he had this ritual that after he baptized the babies, he would hold the baby up and consecrate the baby to the Blessed Mother. And when you just said that about praying for your godchildren using the Rosary, it just warmed my heart, because I just thought, wow, that is so beautiful to give those children to the Blessed Mother. Thank you for doing that. Thanks for being a great godparent. You're awesome. Thank you, Kim.
Oh, thank you. Thank y'all for your show. I love it.
All right. Thanks, Kim, very much. Shane in Williston, North Dakota. We got about 60 seconds, Shane. We're going to try to serve you as best we can, and that's a short amount of time. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm getting my son baptized. He's turned 7 in October. And me and the mother are not together. She has an idea that she wants somebody she knows and friends to be godparents, and kind of explained to her that wasn't the case all the time. She has her friends, I have my friends type of thing. I'm thinking maybe get somebody that's devoted Catholics to do it, that go to church every Sunday. We're both baptized and confirmed Catholic, but she has different views. She doesn't go to church or nothing like that, and I do on Sundays when I can. And so I was just wondering what your take on how to go about the situation would be.
Okay, so real quickly, Shane, what I would recommend you doing is talking to your parish and find out the precise criteria, which is it's all there, and then present that to your former wife and let her see that. Again, here's what you could do, though, Shane. You could have the godparent be it should be the practicing Catholic in good standing over 16 years of age that meet all the criteria, and then if your former wife wants to have somebody that is baptized of a Christian denomination, they could again stand up as a Christian witness or sponsor. So you could do that. But the primary godparent, there's very specific criteria for it, and it would very much benefit your former wife if she realizes what it is. It's not just a title or a status. It is definite role, and we have precise requirements for it. So that would be my recommendation. But go to your parish, because there's usually forms they can print out that she could maybe look at and mull over. What do you think, Jerry?
Can't add anything to that. Debbie, your parish experience comes through once again. Thank you, Shane, for the call. Matthew, wish we were going to have time to get to you. Apologies for that. We were just up at the end of the program, and this comes each and every day on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Want to thank Jane for this email. Hi, Debbie and Jerry. I totally agree, Debbie. We should never feel we have not been chosen to be a great light in the family. God has given us the grace to love every one of the little ones into their relationship with Jesus, whether or not we have that defined godparent role. Don't hold back. Love, Jane. Thank you, Jane.
Aww.
Appreciate it.
I love that, Jane. Thank you so much. Thanks, you guys, for participating. You can keep the conversation going by emailing us at take2, the number 2, at EWTN.com. We'll post some more of those books that you guys were asking for last week. Tomorrow, Jerry, we're going to be talking about or asking the question, do you feel comfortable in the Catholic Church? We're talking about marginalized Catholics, and it's a tough subject to deal with, but we're going to do it together. Jerry, I'm looking forward to tomorrow's show.
Going to be another good one. Good to be back with you all after the long weekend. Thanks to the show team,